This plant is therefore said to cure fatty liver. Greasy temptations are lurking everywhere and we like to take advantage of them when we are stressed. Greasy or very sugary. Order a quick meal in the evening or take a piece of cake with you in between. After all, you don't always want to just pay attention to food, you also want to enjoy life. But all this can also have fatal consequences. A fatty liver, and around 25% of us Germans suffer from it today. And the trend is rising sharply. The cause is not alcohol consumption, but above all a poor diet and therefore often obesity. To prevent fatty liver from becoming inflamed and, in the worst case, even leading to death, we can change our diet. And now you can find out how to prevent your liver from becoming a health risk. Here are a few simple, tasty nutritional tips from me. Hello, my name is Dr. Tobias Wagel. With my YouTube channel, I would like to make a contribution to providing medically understandable and correct information about diseases, their causes, and what we can do about them ourselves. Our diet is a very important component of this. We also have it in our own hands. And if you don't want to miss anything, subscribe to my channel now. In contrast to an alcoholic fatty liver disease, a non-alcoholic fatty liver is favored by two factors. Firstly, too little exercise, and secondly, too much sugar and fat in the diet, whether due to alcohol or unhealthy food. In both cases, the liver has to work much harder. Often it is also the combination, because the liver is responsible for utilizing our food and drink. If it gets a lot of work from us, it stores excess energy as fat. And according to studies, 3 groups are particularly susceptible to this. This can make the liver more susceptible to disease and cause inflammation. Fatty liver, liver cirrhosis, liver cancer. It becomes particularly dangerous if you do nothing to combat fatty liver. Then, after a certain time, it can develop into cirrhosis of the liver. The liver is then rarely curable. And in the worst case scenario, liver cancer develops and those affected can even die from it. And I have also had patients in the intensive care unit who have received a liver transplant because they actually only had a fatty liver originally. But don't worry, if you start now with a fatty liver, you can often avert the consequences. Recognize a fatty liver? But the first question is actually, how do you know if you have a fatty liver at all that you are affected? And here I have listed a few symptoms that may indicate a fatty liver. A visit to the doctor can clarify these symptoms. And then please see a doctor, especially in combination with obesity. This can indicate a fatty liver. What does the doctor do? Ultrasound on here, determine liver values. But it is important to note that people of normal weight can also have a fatty liver. This is very important to know. And the first thing that usually helps here is, as I said, a blood test. Determine the liver values. If the results indicate a fatty liver, an ultrasound examination can be carried out next. And the ultrasound, the sono, is a good way of recognizing whether there is a fatty liver, yes or no. Fatty liver enemies. To relieve the fatty liver, it is important to change your diet as well as exercise. But don't start a diet or fasting cure now. Don't make any miracle cures. Don't believe any promises of a cure. Most of the time we think we are eating healthily, but we are not. And there are foods that you should eat less of. And these 3 categories now also feed the fatty liver, which I mentioned. Sugary foods, alcohol, fatty foods, sugar, especially fructose, is the poison of the future. And I'm not talking about fruit and vegetables. The German Nutrition Society recommends 5 portions, twice fruit, 3 times vegetables, but juices and smoothies. In addition, normal sugar, which is of course contained in sweets. However, sugar is also hidden in ready-made foods where we would not expect it. Keyword, see if it says corn syrup on the back. For example, do you also like to drink instant cappuccino, especially in these powders? Then please replace it with homemade coffee and fresh milk because it contains a lot of sugar. But back to fruit and vegetables. Once again, fruit and vegetables from a jar or can are often heavily enriched with sugar for a longer shelf life. But don't worry, you don't have to miss out on any delicious meals. In a moment, I'll come to foods that fit perfectly into your diet. And they taste really good too. But we need to take a look at fatty foods. It is also important to note that not all fats are the same. Saturated fats are not a good idea if you have a fatty liver. These are the bad fats. This includes butter, sausage, and dairy products. And of course, you don't have to completely eliminate them from your diet. The dose makes the poison. With milk, it is generally said not to exceed 1 liter per day. But if you want to promote your health, then you should definitely cut down on that, especially meat and sausage. Recommendation of the German Nutrition Society, 600 grams of meat and sausage per week. So less is more, but good meat. Even if you like to reach for potato chips, for example, that's fine. But it should be rare. Here are a few more foods that I have listed that you should eat less often if you have a fatty liver, It is not, and this is also important for me to say, a matter of pathological renunciation. You probably won't be able to keep this up in the long term anyway, or it may even change or end in an eating disorder. Slowly make sure you adjust your diet. Do this step by step. You have time for that. Fatty liver savior. Instead, don't reach for any miracle cures, any intelligent molecules, intelligent miracle cures, but for unsaturated fatty acids. These include vegetable oils. They contain a lot of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, making them healthier alternatives to butter and the like. The ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids is crucial. Nuts and seeds also provide high-quality fats that fight your fatty liver. For example, I like to eat almonds and chia seeds in my fruit bowl. Typical. A breakfast like this is the perfect start to a healthy day. This is the perfect diet for a fatty liver, because fruit should be part of your daily diet from now on. I recommend vegetables and fruit that you can find seasonally in Germany, and if in doubt, eat a little more vegetables. It doesn't have to be avocado or mango. You can also try your hand at sweet berries, which can be a healthy substitute for chocolate. Logi method. Studies also show that a special type of diet can help with a fatty liver. Using the so-called Logi method, they keep the blood sugar level low, which relieves the liver. The focus here is on a low-carbohydrate diet. Very important, don't go on a keto diet, don't give up carbohydrates completely, but go on a low-carb diet. This means that you should always fill half of your plate with vegetables, fruit, and high-quality oils. In addition, you should help yourself to a source of protein every day with this type of diet. These include fish, meat and dairy products, although care should be taken not to eat too much of these. What I said before. However, poultry, low-fat poultry and fish, which are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, are ideal. Also, next tip, instead of simple carbohydrates, opt for multi-chain carbohydrates, such as the more complex whole grain alternatives. Nutritional rhythm for fatty liver. Studies also indicate that it is not only the type of food that plays a role. I've just mentioned a few, and they form a healthy dietary pattern. It is also important when you eat. This does not mean that you are not allowed to eat anything in the evening. Being allowed to do so is generally always a bad thing if you can't keep it up. But the point here is to spread the food out. Since the liver is already overloaded as a fatty liver, there is a theory that it needs to rest, and that won't happen if you eat again throughout the day. Instead, you could relieve the liver with 3 meals a day. Does an oat day make sense? Can it help if you have one so-called oat day a week? You often hear that too. This is advertised on social media. This means that you eat only oatmeal 1 day a week. There are studies that confirm that oatmeal really does help to lower blood sugar levels. In addition, oatmeal can also lower cholesterol levels and increase the effect of insulin. In fact, you can also use the health claim. Oat bran lowers the cholesterol level at a certain level, especially good for diabetics, of course. Since diabetes favors a fatty liver, oatmeal can have a positive effect. As an oat day has no known side effects, there is of course nothing to stop you trying it out. How do you do that? Eat oatmeal with water or vegetable broth 3 times a day. You can also eat a handful of vegetables or fruit with it so that it is not too monotonous. But I always find it better, and this is my general recommendation, not to overdo it, nothing, so that you don't get fed up at some point. You can somehow be fed up with having only oatmeal all day long, but regularly eat oat flakes or rather oat bran. That's just the way I do it. Can the thistle cure a fatty liver? Do you now suffer from a fatty liver? Then you may have already come across medicines that also contain milk thistle. They are supposed to cleanse and protect the liver or any additional preparations that you might pick up at the drugstore. But is it really a herbal remedy? Unfortunately, there is no clear answer here. The plants produce an active ingredient, yes, which is extracted and is intended to treat liver diseases. There are indeed studies that speak for a positive effect of thistle, but these are not clear enough according to the Consumer Advice Center. There is an active ingredient that has been scientifically proven to help with poisoning caused by tuber fungi. But this effect cannot be clearly applied to diseases of the liver, and it is similar with dandelions and artichokes. It is therefore forbidden to sell foods containing milk thistle, for example, which advertise that they cure or prevent fatty liver. As milk thistle can also cause side effects or interactions, for example with other medications, it has to be said, virtually unsafe at the moment. So at most it could be part of a liver-friendly dietary pattern, but discuss it with your doctor. And with this dietary pattern, you may be able to help your liver to regenerate. Of course, exercise is also part of it. You don't have to go jogging straight away, but you can go for a short walk. It's the whole package that counts. And that includes a liver-friendly diet. I had just said something about what you should avoid and what you should eat more of. Also things like more exercise, less stress, more sleep. What is your experience with a fatty liver? Have you been able to regenerate your liver by changing your diet? Have you taken any miracle cures? Feel free to tell us what you think. Let's have a discussion about this. Thank you very much and stay loyal to me.